Hello and welcome. I have assembled a short compilation of Reddit stories for you to enjoy. Please remember to like and subscribe and enjoy the video. My ex stole from me close to 90k euros, which I saved up for 9 years. And when I took her to court, I lost due to lack of evidence. At the moment I felt destroyed and lost it all. She even sued me for emotional damages and I had to pay 55,000 euros. So I was forced to sell my house and take a big loan from the bank. I stayed at a friend and helped me find some good lawyers. And we just found an amazing one. In one day, he helped me so much and even helped me get the info of who took money from my bank account. Something was wrong. 29th of June a transaction happened in my name. I never made it. I was not in the country at the time. Well, would you look at that? I was ready to get back into court when I found out that she bought my house. Well, I have a safe that I never told her about hidden in the bathroom behind the cabinet. Well, she ruined my life. Why not ruin her even more? So I had an accomplice that helped me buy some drugs worth about 400 euros and used a friend to hide it there. The safe has a 4-digit code, that being 000. Never got to change it to something else. And before taking her to court again, I had that same friend who hid the drugs turn her in. It took about a week for the cops to receive a mandate to search the house. They found nothing in the first 2 hours. And they wouldn't if my friend forgot to leave the safe cover open. That 400 euro worth of drugs are equal to a 5,000 euro fine and 12 years of prison. Well, I'm not done yet. Court time again. I had my lawyer get the footage from when the money from the bank was transferred, and also I had a document showing that I was not in the country at the time. We also found out the account to which the money was sent to. The name was that of my ex. Well, look how the tables have just turned. My lawyer also demanded payment for emotional damage. All the money that was stolen, the house, and also money equivalent to 2 times the debt I had in the bank, which is equal to about 1,400 euros. The look on her face when everything came down crashing on her was totally worth it. And on top of the 12 years from drug possession, she received an additional 25 years for theft and false testimony. Enjoy it.
Okay, so I have a 4-year-old corgi named Potato. Love of my life. Would die for him. He's pretty chill with most people. Not a barker usually.
My mother-in-law is a lot. Like a lot. She comes over unannounced, criticizes everything, rearranges my kitchen when I'm not looking. Once told me my pot roast was brave, which I'm still not over. She wears the same perfume every single day, some Chanel thing. You can smell her coming from like 10 feet away.
About a year ago I had this idea. Took me 8 months, but I did it. Every time I sprayed that perfume, I would get Potato slightly riled up. Just enough. Played with him aggressively. Made exciting noises. Then sprayed. Eventually he just associated the smell with time to go crazy. Now every time she walks in, he loses his mind. Barking, spinning. Won't calm down until she leaves or goes outside. I act confused. My wife thinks Potato just doesn't like her energy. My mill told my wife she thinks the dog senses something dark in her, and honestly, that sent me. She's started coming over less. Says the dog makes her anxious. She went to her priest about it, apparently. Asked if animals can sense evil spirits. I nearly threw up trying not to laugh when my wife told me. Anyway, Potato got extra treats tonight. He's earned them. Best $150 I ever spent.
Should I continue to babysit for a lady whose baby is a doll? I-19F posted an advertisement that I babysit. A lady from the area responded saying she has an 11-month-old baby boy ill call, Toby. I told her it'll be 13 pounds an hour, and she said, that's fine, she'll be gone for 3 hours. When I turned up, she greeted me while holding what looks like a baby. She handed me it saying, this is Toby. I then realized it was a doll. I wasn't sure if maybe she had given me the doll to give to Toby or if she actually wanted me to babysit the doll, so I asked, is there any other children in the house? So if I had misunderstood her, I could pass off as joking about it, but I wouldn't upset her if she really did think the doll was a baby. She said no, just Toby. She made me aware there's baby monitors around just so she can have peace of mind that he's okay. I said, of course, and she kissed the doll on the head before leaving. I basically just pretended the doll was real, hugging it. I put in a bouncer she had, let it sleep in the crib. I went to the toilet at one point, and on the wall, there was a picture of a real baby that looked similar to the doll. So I'm assuming this is her way of grieving. I cried a bit myself in the bathroom at this realization, but I put on a happy face when I went downstairs and continued looking after the baby changed its nappy, so if she was watching, she could have peace of mind. Once she came back, she asked how he was. I told her he was so well behaved. I said because he was more well behaved than most babies. I'll only charge her for 1 hour. She messaged me again asking if I could babysit another time. I haven't responded yet. My friends don't think I should, because it's taking advantage of her when she's clearly mentally ill. I wouldn't want to take advantage of her. It's a really sad situation. They also think I should tell her that it's just a doll, but I don't know if I should do that. I don't know if that's the best way to go about the situation. I think it's not really my place.
Today I messed up by obliterating my wife's pet goldfish. My wife's 8-year-old very large goldfish was passing away, had dropsy, was suffering, and was on the verge of death. Wife and I looked into the symptoms and there was practically no hope of him making a recovery, so she asked me to euthanize him. Looking into methods, it seemed pretty agreed upon that the most effective and quick way to euthanize a fish was blunt force trauma. Now, when I was a kid, my family were huge anglers, and I was designated as the fish killer when it was time to cook them. Back then, I was told to slam them on the ground as hard as I could. Well, my 8-year-old body wasn't strong enough to kill them instantaneously, so I had to do it multiple times. Honestly, it kind of messed me up a little. Flash forward to last night. I didn't want that happening again, and I wanted it to be painless. I asked my wife to leave the room because she was very upset, and I chose to do the deed by putting the fish in a plastic grocery bag and slamming it on the counter as hard as I possibly could. The poor fish was absolutely obliterated. The force ripped open the bag and sprayed bits of what used to be a goldfish in every direction. Told my wife to stay upstairs and she started getting suspicious, so she comes down after 5 minutes and it's just everywhere still. On the counter, on the stove, on the fridge, on the freaking Christmas tree we still have up. I was still finding pieces of it this morning. Wife was aghast and traumatized, cried until she went to bed. Today I messed up by giving my dog the best day of his life. Let me start by saying it's important to note that whenever I cook hot dogs, I slice the package, take out a few, roll the rest back up in the plastic packaging, and fasten it all with some good old-fashioned elastic bands. Today, I did not. I couldn't tell you why my dumb self decided to just fold the plastic over a few times and place it back on the shelf, but here we are. So my spouse comes running down in there a few minutes between endless meetings to make their lunch quickly. We are the only two in our house, plus our little rescue dog who was a stray and an absolute mooch. I mean, this dog will weave between your feet, eyes glued to the floor hoping for even a single speck of crumb, because woe is him, he's never been fed a day in his life. So we're all in the kitchen. I hear the fridge open, and it suddenly dawns on me in horror that my spouse is most definitely going to go for those hot dogs. I rap like a dumbass. I quickly turn around to say something, and my spouse in slow motion, wide-eyed stares at me as the hot dog package unrolls like a fruit by the foot commercial and douses my dog's entire skull in far too much hot dog water. My dog lost his mind. Like a Christian grandma with the second coming of Christ, my dog just tears ass across the entire apartment with the worst case of the zoomies I think we've ever seen him have. He proceeds to spend the next 15 minutes singing our praises as the greatest humans alive as he rolls across every piece of furniture we own. I'm talking every piece of furniture. Now, I don't hate hot dogs, but the smell is weirdly overpowering, and every time I sat down on something else, all I can smell is godforsaken hot dogs. My dog loves it though, and now I'm figuring out how to shampoo out hot dog water from my life. I have so many regrets. Today I messed up by making my dad hit a GTA stripper, then ask God for forgiveness. When I was younger, me and my brothers snuck a copy of GTA San Andreas into the house. We spent days holed up in our basement taking turns playing, and down there my parents didn't bother us. In order to get tons of money for guns, we would go to the strip club and stand on the stage, absorbing the money dudes threw at the women, and just let the game sit. We had to be careful though, because sometimes the strippers would do a move and bump into CJ, and the bouncers would shoot the place up. One day, While I was playing, my mom yelled down to the basement at us to get ready. We're going to Pizza Hut. In a stroke of genius, I drove to the GTA strip club, got on the stage, and then turned the TV off and we left. It was to be the heist of the century. My dad, however, was at church at this time, practicing for a gospel he was singing in. He always filmed the practices so he could take notes at home upon playback, and this time was no different. While my mom and brothers and I were still at the hut, he arrived at home and plugged his camcorder into the VCR, and it was connected to the basement TV. Back at the hut, my mom gets a phone call. She puts her napkin down and slowly looks around the table at us and says okay a few times into the phone, in this really calculating, specific way that she always did when she knew us kids were in trouble before we did. Naturally, it was at this point that we kids knew we were in trouble. For what, though? We didn't know. After a very quiet car ride, we get home, and my mom says, "Boz, why don't we go down to the basement? Your dad wants to show you his gospel practice downstairs." It was then at this point we knew why we were in trouble. So we drag our feet down the stairs, and lo and behold, my dad is sitting on the couch, TV on, a stripper's tits swung stiffly back and forth on screen, with CJ standing mere inches away, collecting money. My dad starts in, "Boz, I don't even know where to begin. This PlayStation was a blessing to you for Christmas, and this is how you repay us, by breaking our trust." He is holding the controller up now, gesticulating with it. Here I am, practicing to bring glory to God, but he was cut off as he squeezed the controller, causing CJ to punch the stripper. My entire family stands in silence, watching together as the bouncers in the strip club shoot the place up for what seems like an eternity. After the shooting stops, and CJ appears in front of the hospital, I look back and see my mom silently weeping into her hand. I look at my dad as a single tear rolls down his cheek and he prays under his breath. After another eternity of silence, without a word, my dad bends down, disconnects the PlayStation, walks back to the family computer, disconnects it, goes to his car and drives away. For the next 4 months he kept the PS2 locked in his office.
Am I the asshole for refusing to give my parents my location after they stopped paying my college tuition? I won 9 FAM a sophomore in college. Until last semester, my parents were paying for about 3/4 of my tuition and housing. However, they insisted. I used the Life 360 app showing my location to them at all times. It wasn't optimal, but I figured it's up to them since they're paying for me. Over the holidays, however, my dad and I had a huge argument because I changed my major from biology to chemistry. He told me I was throwing away a bigger opportunity, but I feel like I can help more people this way. Since then, I've had to start working 2 jobs and take out multiple student loans. I pay for everything now. My parents give me $0. Anyways, last weekend, I went on a road trip to another state and my mom started texting me nonstop, demanding to know why I was in another state. I had forgotten about the tracking app at this point. I realized that's how they knew and I just deleted the app. Then came the calls from both my parents, both of them saying how dangerous it is for me to not be tracked by them all the time. I told them I'm paying for my own life now. I value my privacy and I don't feel comfortable with the app. This has really infuriated my dad and upset my mom because she thinks I'm trying to cut them off completely or something. They said if I don't turn it back on, they're not welcome at Thanksgiving this year, so I don't know if I'm in the wrong or not.
I changed a road sign on my daily commute to work and a decade later nobody has noticed. On my daily commute there was very inconvenient no right turn between 7 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. sign. I had to make the right turn about 7:20 a.m. every day. For a long time, I would just break the law and make my turn anyway or turn around if I thought there was too many people watching. Then out of boredom, I did a bit of research and found the ticket for the illegal turn was more than buying a sign from the supplier that makes signs for our area and several other locations. So I ordered a new sign that was no right turn between 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. I figured it was a good investment. I went to the trouble of buying it through an alias and having it sent to a location that was not at all near to where I was. Real cloak and dagger stuff, but it was part of the fun. Then in the middle of the night I went and removed the bolts and put up the new sign. At first I was expecting for it to be removed or someone look into it, but it is more than a decade later and no one ever noticed or changed it.